I just spent $800 on that Escalade of my own money to help out a customer. Last week, spent $3,000 to help a customer out of my own pocket. And people still call me a dick sometimes. Being a used car dealer is really difficult. In today's video, I'm gonna explain to you when I'm very happy to help my customers and when it's sometimes not worth it for you to help your customers after the point of a sale. Now, let me get this straight. I love helping people. I love making sure everybody's content after the purchase. Being a used car dealer is tough. Owning a car dealership is tough, but it's all about customer service and it's all about like repeat business, keeping people coming back. Today's a good video for everybody watching, whether you're a consumer or a business person. You don't have to even be into cars. If you own any type of business, this is gonna be really helpful for you. My name is Craig from Flying Wheels. Let's get going. So welcome to Flying Wheels. We are busy. It is tax refund season and we are fully loaded. Like, to be honest with you, overloaded. We stock up all our cars early, like November, December, January. We start working on them, we start cleaning them, we start fixing them. Now we sell a little bit of everything, down from like $2,500 cars all the way up to like $30,000+ vehicles. We're all over the place because in the business, we like to say there is a butt for every seat. And in tax refund season, the less expensive cars sell quicker than the more expensive cars. The only problem is, with less expensive cars come more headaches, right? Yeah, except the 2018 Chevy Suburban that I just did a transmission for somebody for, which was ridiculous. Now, I'm gonna get into that story and I'm gonna get into the Escalade story and explain when and why I love to help my customers and when I don't at all. Now, I just sold a $30,000 2018 Chevy Suburban Premier, like top of the line, to a woman who has 3 kids, like wonderful woman. She was delightful to work with here. She paid us our asking price. It was an incredible vehicle. Like, it was so nice I wanted to give it to my wife, but it just ties up too much money, and she came and she loved it for her family. Let it go. 2018 Suburban Premier, beautiful car, like top of the line, out the door, and the customer gave us our asking price. A week later, she calls me and says, something's wrong. This thing is like vibrating in certain speeds, and I don't know what it is. So I said, you know what? You're quite a ways away. Why don't you take it to a Chevy dealer or someone, have them look at it? She calls me back and she says, hey, there's something wrong with the transmission. The Chevy dealer is saying it needs a transmission. Now, I preface her before going there. If you're any dealership or whatever, every customer know this. I said, bring it to the Chevy dealer. They know the Chevy, have them look at it and get back to me. I'm gonna tell you though, you bought a 2018 Suburban, not a brand new Suburban. Has 130,000 miles, doesn't have 0 miles. They're going to try to sell you on $10,000 worth of work. Don't get upset, don't get frustrated. It's what they do. Their job is to sell service and sell parts. Do not think that it needs $10,000 worth of things, repairs, because that's what they tell you. Just go in for a diagnosis and get right back to me. So she did. And now, sickeningly, sadly, GM makes this like terribly inferior product now on their newer Escalades and Suburbans and Sierras and Silverados. Like this one right here, a $100,000 Cadillac Escalade. Not this one specifically, but commonly speaking, these things have terrible transmissions and they have serious cam problems. So not only do they have one, they have both, like engine problems and transmission problems commonly. So what happens with the engine? Well, they have a displacement on demand, which means like they shut 4 cylinders down. They're a V8 on the highway, they shut down to 4. Well, the lifters turn sideways. I'm getting a little technical, and they prematurely wear out the cam, which is basically what spins everything in your engine. And when the cam's worn, it's a really big deal and an expensive job, and your car kind of vibrates a little bit and has a misfire. It's awful design, and it happens to just about every single one of the Escalades and the Suburbans and the Tahoes and the Sierras and the Silverados. On top of that, in the valve body, in the transmissions, on not just the Escalades, but all the Chevy trucks, they made the balls that, like in the torque converter, out of plastic, and they wear. So they were made out of aluminum and they were wearing down the plastic on the inside, so instead they swapped and made the balls out of plastic. Now the balls wear prematurely as well, and I think I'm saying this correctly. So now you have terrible torque converter transmission problems in Suburbans and Escalades and Sierras and Silverados and Tahoes. It's awful, it's despicable. But it typically happens after 120,000 miles, so they're out of warranty at that point. Big deal for Chevy, they brush you off, you don't get anything except having to pay for a new engine or having to pay for a new transmission. Now, this Suburban, sadly, I didn't drive it enough to even know that. I drove it around town, I drove it for a week or so, but like from my house to my shop because it was really nice, and I didn't notice it. It was like at like 60 miles an hour in between like 7th and 8th or 5th and 6th gear or whatever. So she called me, hey, Chevy dealer says it needs a transmission. Like, wow, that really stinks. It's not your fault. Let me figure it out. I'll cover it. Get it back to me. I need to verify it. I paid the whole thing. all right? Now, when she bought the car, she gave me my asking price, which was awesome. And when she gives me my asking price, I gave her a 12-month, 12,000 mile warranty, which we purchased from an outside company. Now, those warranties, they're like cheap warranties. It covers $1,500 worth of a transmission repair, which is like a fraction of the price of a transmission. But at least I gave it to her. So now she has like peace of mind. I said, you know what? Let's see what the warranty, I'll cover the rest. You don't have to take care of that. I covered the whole thing. So the warranty paid for $1,500, which I bought for her. I paid for her warranty. I gave it to her, so I paid for that. And then I paid, the entire repair was near $4,000. So I covered the difference out of pocket. Why? Because we made money on the car, and I still made money on the car even after paying out of pocket. And she was great, and it's not her fault. Like, she didn't plan for spending $30,000 on a Suburban and then having to buy a transmission. That is not her fault. I can't leave somebody that way, and she was lovely to work with. She wasn't a pain. She paid the asking price. I didn't have to finance her. Just like all my ducks were in a row with her, and it was just really a great customer, and I want her to come back, and I want her to be happy, and I want her to tell her friends that we took care of her. So hopefully if one more of her friends buys a car from us, it will pay for that transmission, and then, you know, we're good. That is when it is worth helping a customer. When they're good people, when they deserve it, when they're gonna be repeat business, when it's not their fault, when it happens kind of right away within reason. I love to take care of people. I don't love taking money out of my pocket and giving it to people, but I love to take care of people because it would suck if it happened to you or your wife or something. So I try to put myself in that situation, and whatever, it's not all about the money. Yeah, I would have made great money, but now I at least have a happy customer, and hopefully her husband, when he needs a car, calls me, or when a friend needs a car, they call me, and I get the business from that. Now, in-house, we don't have warranties, so everything is sold as is. I have an outside company that we sell warranties to people or give warranties to people. That's different than a warranty in-house. It was actually sold as is through us. I'm gonna explain how I warrantied a car and how you protect yourself when you do that in a minute, because I sold it as is, always, but I covered it, so I warrantied it, so I voided my as-is disclosure to her. I'm gonna explain at the end of this video how you still protect yourself when you do that. Let me get into the Escalade right now. This right here is a 2009 Cadillac Escalade. 129,000 miles, like decent truck. These are built well. These 6.2 liter V8s are far better than the newer Escalades. Same with their transmissions. This, we did a CV axle to it. We did plugs, coils, we did a power steering pump. We did all kinds of things to this vehicle, right, Dave? Customer purchases like the extended warranty, gave us our asking price. They were good people. He drives away. Next day, he calls me and he's like, hey, thing's leaking power steering fluid. I don't know why, but it is pouring out. We go, I say, that sucks. Please come back, let us check it out, see what we can do. We did a power steering pump. Maybe like something got loose, disconnected after the repair, bring it back. Wrong, was not that. It was a leak, like a tiny leak in the rack. We would have never noticed it, but that leak got bigger as they drove it. We can't predict that those things were gonna happen. We did a state inspection on it. I repaired a lot. I mean, we spent thousands of dollars on that car to make it sellable. Then we had it detailed and we sold it. A day later, I can't have a car with a power steering leak like that go to a customer who's now gonna have to foot the bill on $800-900 power steering rack because he didn't know about it, and that's my fault. I told him the car was good. I told him it was inspectable, and then the rack breaks. So I'm like, I walked out of the garage and I said, hey, you're getting a new rack. It's on me. Congrats. So that was, I took care of that. Why? Because they paid the asking price. They bought the extended warranty through an outside company, which doesn't cover that, by the way. I'm taking care of that in my pocket. But like, they were good people. They deserve to be treated like good people, and I'm happy to help them out for that reason. Now, I bought the rack for like $400 plus some power steering fluid and our labor. So it's gonna cost me around $500 to do that job. We made much more than that, so we still made a profit, and they get a brand new rack out of it. So everyone's gonna be happy, and they got taken care of after the sale, which is even better. That's customer service is great. Well, I talk about this all the time. I want to talk about CYA, cover your rear, because I warrantied something that I said had no warranty, right? So I voided my original agreement. How do you cover yourself in this case? Well, I get a secondary agreement after the fact, and I have the customer sign it before they take possession of the vehicle again. Here's what it looks like. In the fine print, it says, vehicle was sold to customer as is, no warranty, guarantee, or returns expressed or implied. Dealer is covering the cost of these repairs in goodwill and faith only. Vehicle still has no warranty, and the dealer and or repair facility is not held liable for any future repairs. Total due from customer, $0. Customer signs, we're done. Nothing is ever voided. What I also do is make sure they know how much I'm actually paying out of pocket to cover these repairs. I want them to appreciate what we're doing. I'm not just doing something for free. I'm spending a lot of money out of my own pocket to cover these these things for them. So I always make a bill of the estimated repairs. I want them to know how much it actually would have cost them had they had to do these repairs. Because this is elective. I don't have to do these things for them. So this customer, for example, I was doing a rack and they're like, oh God, how long do I have to wait for this? I'm like, well, you can just drop it off and I'll take care of it. And they're like, really? Well, what am I supposed to take an Uber home? Like, you can stay or you can take an Uber home, whatever you want to do. And he's annoyed at me, right? So I'm like, well, we don't have to do these things, but I'm doing $838 worth of repair work for you for free. So I assume you want it done. I'll take care of it for you. And it helps alleviate the burden a little bit. So at the end, when they sign everything, I want to show you one more time what I do. So I'm going to block out their name, but I just want to show you the invoice. After purchase, customer found power steering leak. Upon inspection, we found a broken power steering line on the power steering rack. Rack and pinion, we broke it down, is $422. Power steering fluid is $8, $16. Labor is 4 hours at $100 an hour, $400 for a total of $838. Total due to customer, $0. Total bill $838. Now they know, like, let's say they paid $11 for the Escalade. Well, they got $838 worth of work that they would have had to pay for. So like this guy tried to negotiate and lowball me originally when he wanted to purchase it. I'm like, nah. And then he gave me my money. Now, had I accepted his $10,000 offer, I wouldn't have covered that. And then that $838 would have been on him. So I want them to know, like, hey, I am taking care of you. Because you can do all these things and to them it's just like, oh, whatever, he's taking care of it for me. No, I want you to see a physical number of how much I am paying and saving you. How much money are you saving for me doing you this favor? It's important. People are visual, they need to see what they're saving, what you're paying, and they have a different appreciation for you after that. Now think of it this way. Now I get it. You can kind of think of it this way and go, oh, he sells cars that need work all the time, right? No, like we sell a lot of cars. So if you sell 100 cars and 1% of them has an issue, that's still one car. Like 10% is a low number and you'd have an issue with 10 cars. So I don't have a crystal ball. You can't predict the future. You don't know what's gonna happen down the road. I can just do my best at looking at it right now and try to figure out what it needs and replace that. That doesn't mean that everything is brand new. I live in the Rust Belt, like New England. I can't predict what's gonna break tomorrow. For example, a power steering line. So if that car wasn't leaking when we finished it 3 weeks ago, but now we drive in a snowstorm and the slush piles up, like it snowed yesterday a lot, and the slush piles up on it and it kind of just gives it that little bit more that it needs to get a hairline crack, that stinks. And I didn't know that was gonna happen, and that's what happened, and that's why I wanna take care of people. I don't know what's gonna happen in the future, I just know what it is now. So if I can take care of what I know now, maybe I can take care of it in the back end if something happens, but you just don't know. And it's a used car, it's not a new car, and that's what's difficult about selling used cars. Now, when do I not take care of people? Well, we are in a weird time where there's a lot of entitled people where everyone thinks they deserve everything, and they're rude and they're short, and so those are the people that don't deserve things. And I am happy to not give entitled people anything. If they're rude, if they're short, if they're just like aggressive in any way, on your own. I don't have patience for that. Go somewhere else and yell at someone else. I'm not dealing with a Karen or a Kevin. Good luck. Now I have a video coming out from a car we sold near a year ago. It was a 2012 Jeep Grand Cherokee, and it was like $12,000 originally. And the lady came and she was rude and she's like, I'll give you $9,500 cash today. Take it or leave it or I'm walking. I'm like, I don't know, that's really low. We don't have that type of money to play with, but I had that Grand Cherokee for a long period of time and that was like our break-even point, and it needed an inspection. So I'm like, all right, come back. We had it for a long time and like, I just didn't feel like dealing with this stuff. So like, fine, whatever. You beat me down, take it, it's yours. Now there's $3,000. I don't have $3,000 to play. If something happens after the fact, it's on her. I can't help you after that. You took my $3,000 already. That's my room to play if you need help. I don't have it. Now that is, forget like if they were rude or anything. If I discounted things to cost or below cost or like several thousands of dollars, I always say it's being discounted in consideration of any possible repairs it may need. That is on the customer. I'm not discounting it and then taking repairs afterwards, okay? I'm not taking care of things after the fact. The repairs are discounted up in the front. So all that money that I reduced the price by, put it towards whatever you want. Tires, brakes, rack, anything. Like if this guy came and was like, hey, I'll give you 10K cash, take it or leave it, which he did do, I'd say, all right, I'll take it, but don't call me if you need something. We ended up negotiating and he gave me the 11 I was asking. So that $1,000 that he came up, he was reasonable. So I'm reasonable on the backside. If he was like 10K cash today, take it or leave it, and I say, all right, I take it, and he called me and he's like, hey, the rack's leaking. I'm like, well, use the 1,000 I took off and put it towards the rack. That's very, very fair. Customers will not like that. I'll guarantee you they will be unhappy, and those will be the ones that are unhappy, the ones that beat you up on the price and then want more later on. Like, I've had guys beat me up on things and then call me 3 months later like, hey, this is wrong with it. I'm like, yeah, well, take the money that you beat me up on and use that towards your repair. That's a different scenario. Now, let me get back to the Jeep Grand Cherokee. This lady called me like months later because her daughter crashed into something and she was blaming me for it. So I'm like, ma'am, just let me take care of it any way I can. But the way she was yelling at me on the phone, I'm like, you know what? Actually, I'm good. It's been months on your own, and she just kept yelling, so I hung up on her. Like, that woman didn't deserve my time. I have my time's more valuable, and I'd rather dedicate it to other people. She doesn't get my help. Why? Because she was rude on the phone, she was demanding, she wasn't polite. Like, she wasn't asking for things. She was telling me what I'm going to do for her. Ain't nobody got time for that. I'm not gonna do that. Which is the reason why I sell everything as is, and I get it all in writing. So you have the option of buying, or in some situations, me giving you an extended service contract that is through an outside company. You can use your own repair facility. You don't have to come back here. It's really great, really helpful. But in-house, I don't have a warranty for any car. No car has a warranty. And I will help people and I will take care of things on the back end, but I sell everything no warranty because I want to be able to pick and choose who deserves to be helped, and not everybody does. So you might like that, you might not agree with me, but it's true. I have the opportunity to say, hey, I'll be happy to help you, or no, I'm sorry, I can't help you on this one. Okay, so I do have an example of somebody that I turned down for help after the purchase, and I felt bad about doing it, but I also didn't feel bad about doing it. So I had a 2014 Chevy Silverado. I was asking $22,000 for it. He looked super nice, man, came and looked at it. He drove it, he loved the car. I was asking $22,000. He said he'd give me $20,000 cash. No financing, no warranties, nothing. He'll just buy it. So I'm like, that's a lot of money. I mean, we don't have like thousands of dollars marked up in every car, and our overhead is really expensive. So even if we do make $2,000 on a car, I have $2,000 plus a week in payroll alone. So we have to make $2,000 a week in profit on a sale of a car just to pay the payroll. Then there's mortgage, then there's electricity, there's cable, there's internet, there's insurances, which are insanely expensive. Just like carrying costs of doing business, between 40 and 50 grand a month. So if I say, yeah, like we made $2,000 or $3,000 on a car, yeah, that's awesome, right? Except it cost me $50,000 a month to run this business. So a guy comes look at the car, $22,000 is the window sticker. He says, we take 20 cash. I had it for sale for like a week. So I'm like, fine. So we made $1,000. Whatever, let it go. No financing, no headaches, easy peasy, lemon squeezy, right? Yeah, perfect. He buys it, he drives it home, he calls me back. Hey, Craig, I noticed there's only one key and no remote on it. I'm really upset about that. And that is like where I get frustrated, which I've already said that the people that do nickel and dime you are the people that nickel and dime you at the end. The person that paid me my asking price, they feel bad probably calling me. The person that nickels and dimes me at the beginning will nickel and dime me at the end. So Craig, I only have one key, I just noticed. There's no remote and second key. That's gonna cost me a lot of money. So right off the bat, I'm like, I took $2,000 off the car. Use that $2,000 and buy yourself a key. And I was like that frustrated that he even had the audacity to call me. And he's like, well, you don't think you should pay for the key and remote? Like, you have a key to use the car. It didn't have a second key and remote when you bought it. Probably like $250. I can give you the phone number of my locksmith. He'll come right out to you and he'll take care of it. And he's like bummed about it. So he was like seriously upset with me that it didn't have a remote key on the car that he knew what he was buying, drove it, started it with a single key over and over because he was here 3 times. He was upset because he wanted me to pay for his key after he asked for $2,000 off. So I have no problem saying no to something like that. For example, let's talk about Facebook Marketplace viewers. I am selling a 2016 Audi S6 with 62,000 miles. This is a 450 horsepower car that is like super rare. I'm asking $32,000, which is private party, on an extremely rare car. Somebody on Facebook Marketplace just offered me, I'll read you the text. Can you send me a VIN number? Sure, send him the VIN number. Would you be willing to take $27,000? That's $5,000 less than my asking price. And I said, no can do. I own it for way more than that, and your offer is below trade-in value. Trade-in value, like Audi offered me 28 on this car. He offered me less than that. Why did you come back? And he came back and said, would you take 29,000? So he's just throwing numbers around. If for some reason I even accepted this, I hate Facebook Marketplace. Even if I said, you know what, just give me the money, $29,000 is a lot of money. If something happens to that Audi, like, it started off frustrating. Like, he started off with a ridiculously low ball number, and he still came back with a stupid number. If for some reason I sold it at $29,000, that is his forever. Anything he owns, anything that happens to that car, granted it has 62,000 miles, anything that happens to that car after that, it's on him. He didn't ask me condition, he didn't ask me like how many owners, he didn't ask me anything about the car, he just gave me a stupid stupid low price. If for some reason I wanted to get rid of this thing and cash out, at that point, it's his, it's as is. I'm not taking care of anything, even if it was a $29,000 car. Because first of all, he offered me $5,000 less. Now he's offering me $3,000 less. There's no money to even give him back. I already discounted it at the front. And that's kind of sometimes how I explain it. Like, hey, listen, I already discounted the car at the front. Like, I took $3,000 off, I took $2,000 off, I took $1,000 off. It would be a double negative if I paid you again for any repairs or services that it needed. I can't reduce the price at the beginning and give you money or help you at the end. It's one or the other.